first time I properly hit my skid plate, I think. Well, I'm happy I have a skid plate.
Alright, this is me starting at the staging area of my very first sprint enduro. First off, if you're here just because you want to see the terrain, loop 1 and 2 are going to be covered in this video. I would recommend, if you just want that, no commentary, just head down to round 2 and look at loop 1 and 2. It's the cleanest, just run through, no voiceover, etc. So, first sprint enduro, they work by having multiple short sprints, in this case 7-mile sprints. In my class there were only 2 sprints, 1 and 2, and then you do them 3 times. For the more advanced classes you've got 3 loops, or sprints or tests, and then they do it twice. So it's a total of 42 miles, but you have kind of breaks in between a little bit. I'm gonna fast forward through this waiting area here. Now it's my turn to go. First sprint on the first round, or I call them rounds, I don't know what to call them else. The Hare and Hound last time was, which was a previous video, was a single run, like a 35-ish miles, I think that was in total, but it was a single run, so it got really, really tiring. This being a sprint enduro, it's a little bit more forgiving in terms of endurance, because you can take breaks. Like in between the loops, you have a chance to take a few minutes, drink some water, whatever, or just in between the rounds overall, you can just take a break. And I did do that. I took a few minutes break, got back to the track, I drank some cold water, and chilled a little bit. Having said that, I also am wearing black gear, which sucks, but we all know motorcycle gear always comes in black, and it's hard to find stuff in other colors. And so I've had trouble finding stuff that actually fits well, that isn't black. But I think I need to fix that, because it's definitely getting hot. Like towards the end, on the last round, the two loops on the last round, I was getting really, really tired, and it was, you know, I think it wasn't just fatigue, I think it was also heat a little bit, is my guess, just based on how it felt. So I'll try to figure that out. Anyway, so because of a sprint enduro, given how this works, you are basically starting alone. There's like a 30-second or so break in between riders. So for the most of the duration, you know, every now and again I would get passed by somebody much faster, but for the most part, I was basically riding, you know, with folks of similar skill set. So I wasn't getting Omega passed all the time. I wasn't passing people all the time. I think I only passed somebody the one time, which I think you may have seen in the preview. And so it's pretty chill. It becomes like a trail ride. I said this before on the Hare and Hound as well. Like it felt kind of like a brisk trail ride, and this is true here as well. You know, I don't care about winning or anything like that. I'm not pushing myself. I am going at sort of a comfortable pace that I feel is safe and just fun and so on, and just focusing on sort of trying to focus on technique and all of that. And that's awesome. It's an awesome way to see like a bunch of riding that I get to do on interesting terrain, which I'm not going to find by looking it up on Onyx, right? So here's the first piece of difficult terrain on loop 1 here. As you can tell, people are already having some issues. I proceeded a little bit too fast. I assumed we needed to go in here, which turns out we don't need to. So this was a more difficult line than I had to. And I'm very conscious of like holding other people up, so I'm very kind of nervous and like trying to hurry up right now, and you'll see me like stall the bike multiple times. You see somebody crashing there on the right. So as it turns out, you're gonna see me go back and kind of take the left line, or there's a couple of left lines honestly, but take one of the left lines just to kind of bypass this particular section. I was interested in doing the right line as well, which also seemed decent, but I did see a couple of folks drop there, so I figured why risk it, basically. I think I could maybe have done this if I wasn't worth stalling the bike so much and came at it with some roll, because right now I'm just basically spinning the rear even when I try to weighting it. Probably having a proper like getting unstuck technique probably would have helped here as well, but I haven't really mastered that, or I shouldn't say master, I haven't gotten even basically proficient with that technique, so it wasn't in my toolkit for the purposes of this race. Overall, I think the first two sets, or the first two loops, were kind of difficult in a way, because I guess I wasn't completely warmed up. This was very early in the race, and it very quickly became pretty technical. And I was kind of worried, like, wait, is it going to get even worse than this? Like, is it going to get even more technical? Because this was a very, like, technical compared to what I'm used to riding. You can tell people are having issues. And you're gonna see me drop the bike a couple of times and whatever. However, after I got warmed up a little bit, I'm on the second run through, I knew the trails, etc. Nothing was truly difficult. Like, there are sections where I'm just walking the bike down. You're gonna see something on loop 2 later on that's highly technical. But it was pretty fine second time around. So the second round, basically, loop 1 and 2 on the second attempt, was my best one. Like, in the sense, I don't know what time, although I'm assuming it's the fastest, but I felt comfortable, I felt warmed up, I wasn't super tired, right? First time around, things were new to me, I was a bit nervous, I wasn't sure what was coming up. Third time around, I was very tired, especially at loop 2 on this third time around. If you go that far in the video, you're gonna see me drop the bike a few times, stalling even more than I'm stalling otherwise, because my clutch fingers were tired at that point as well. I just got lazy toward the end, and it was a lot of work going through sand and stuff like that. So really the second round was like the clean beginning to end, just going through it, not too tired, warmed up, and so on. So anyway, overall, I really enjoyed it. I think I like this a little bit better than the Hare and Hound, just because you do have these opportunities to pause and grab a drink and stuff like that in between. Similar terrain. You also don't have, I guess, the bomb run in the beginning of the Hare and Hound with everybody going at the same time. On the one hand, it's kind of nice because you get a sense of how fast you are. Like, you immediately get some feedback, like, am I at the end of the pack? Am I at the beginning of the pack? Mid of the pack? For your row, but on the other hand, it's also like lots of bikes, lots of dust, and, you know, I'm sure that a lot of like accidents happen in the bomb run is my guess. So it's a bit of a pro and con, but overall I like this format. It's basically the Hare and Hound except that you get to take pauses and you get to do the same terrain multiple times. So you can get to come back, try a different line and stuff like that, which I've done actually multiple times. There were a few different places where I just chose a different line the second and or third time, and you know, you get to feel the difference taking different lines. So this is one of the left lines, taking it really slowly just because I just don't want to fall down to the right for obvious reasons. It's pretty steep and pretty high. So I'm just being really careful, making sure that I'm leaning the bike to the left at all times, so that if I do screw up, it's gonna be, you know, bike goes down, I'm staying on the to the left of either. Hopefully the bike doesn't go down at all, but if it does go down, the bike goes down, I stay up because I'm leaning to the left, and I'm not gonna fall down to the right. So once I get out of this, it's gonna be pretty open for a while until the next technical section.
Okay.
So I'm gonna keep giving a little bit of commentary. It'll be less and less. I know I've been talking constantly so far, but I'll start doing less and less, and then I'll comment a little bit over the course of round 1, just for the different sections of the trail. And then after the round 1, I'll just stop commenting, and it'll just be kind of clean riding footage. That little rut in the middle that I went through. Now it feels comfortable, but that would have been scary to me not too long ago, before I started really practicing ruts in earnest. got a little close to that big boulder to the left. Sort of did a little bit of a swerve, tiny one, at the last moment. I really do like this terrain though. There's like loose stuff, there's a bunch of rocks, there's some technical sections. I like the variation. Don't get me wrong, I love me some single track, like a proper woodsy single track as well, like Kennedy Meadows. Yeah, so first time around we have people here, and I waited for a while. Another rider that I was talking to before also waited for a while. Multiple people went by though to the left, and in the end I did too. I think this going by here might be within the rules.
I'm allowed to go around. Somebody did go around.
I think it might be within the rules because there's a certain amount of feet you should be within the, from the signs. So I'm not entirely sure. I don't think anybody cares. Like, I'm a novice, whatever. I'm not even trying to win. Like, it's probably pretty chill. But I will say that going straight up here, it's a time saver, I think. So it's not like you're saving time by going around. I don't think you would. You'll see on the second and third round, I actually go up here. Second time I actually stall at the top because I suck. Third time I go all the way through. It's just faster to go straight through, so it's not like going around saves you time, right? Of course, in this circumstance it does, because now you're just waiting for other people. Of course, you know, a better rider, if I were a better rider, I would just still go, and I would just take a slightly different line. They're just blocking like the easiest line up the rocks, right? And so I'm sort of in my head, I'm like, I either go completely around or I take that line. I'm not trying to go like a more technical line up those rocks. Yeah, we were thinking that the guy went to the right. He looked like he or she was gonna take a line there, but it didn't. Later on, they must have found a line, because we're gonna see that person as we come around here. We're gonna see that person come through. I decided to just go with the group. Like I wasn't 100% sure. There he goes. There she. I wasn't 100% sure if that was okay or not, but everybody was doing it, quote unquote, and it wasn't really a time thing. Like, again, I'm a novice, don't care. Definitely getting a little bit more comfortable with these, like, easy sections, except you have to be careful so you're not hitting the handlebars or something on either side, and you just need to pick your line and not be nervous about it. Getting a little bit more comfortable with those, I think. I don't think I ever stalled here, surprisingly. This would have been a typical stalling location that required a lot of clutch feathering. Okay, this was interesting. Kind of a turn on rocky terrain, slightly off camber. I was a bit nervous. I hadn't done that before. I haven't gone like on actual flat-out rocks much before at all. Like a little bit here and there, but like actually just going on like rocks. Not rocky terrain, but like rocks, right? I don't have a feel for like what kind of traction you have and stuff like that. So this rider in front of me, on these, in places like these, I felt I wanted to go a little bit faster, but not like a lot faster, and I wasn't trying to do any kind of aggressive overtakes or anything like that. I think I do overtake him. He's the one person I did overtake later on when it was easier to overtake. Like this is, I think, third round, I think it was. But this is a situation where I'm like, maybe I want to go like 20% faster. That you could tell. I was kind of thinking about maybe overtaking there. But I didn't end up doing so. So here, I'm gonna drop the bike. I didn't realize I was going to the left. Plus, last minute, worried about hitting that person. So slowing down at a very bad position. And dropping my bike, as you can tell.
Whew. Whew.
Not the best camera angle, sorry about that. So I'm still a little bit winded from the technical section before. And you're about to see the most embarrassing part of the whole thing. I just wanted some run up, basically, to come back. And then this happened. I don't remember exactly. I think I was just being lazy and not respecting the terrain. Yeah. That felt super stupid in the moment. So now, of course, I'm tired. Letting somebody go by before I go. And then another embarrassing moment. Instead of properly stopping way ahead of time, I stopped last moment. And of course, hard to put my foot down, and I end up dropping the bike, as you can tell. This whole like 5-minute period was like the most embarrassing. And I was worried about maybe blocking other people. I was also unsure, like, is this the only way to go? Is there like a left line? Like, what's happening? I wasn't sure if I was like blocking the only line. And from where I was, I couldn't quite tell how technical it was going to be on the other side. I just cut out like a minute there of just me taking a break, drinking some water. So yeah, I didn't have speed. I was skittish because of other people having issues. So I was kind of mostly walking it down. On the second and third round, I just rolled through, and this was actually super easy, not even a problem. But yeah, in this case, combination of being skittish for people having issues ahead of me, and then also starting out without being in a proper, like rolling in already in a good standing position, etc., makes it easier than when you're just starting out just like I did. I need to practice that more, actually, to start immediately in a good standing position. And then I missed, not that flag, but the next one that says to go left. And then I have to sort of backtrack a little bit. I do that on the second round too, and then on the third round I'm finally like, I'm not gonna miss it this time.
Okay.
As always, sorry about the camera angle not being good when sitting down. In this, I've been experimenting with a chin mount again. It actually isn't that great in terms of the view, except when you're sitting. In any case, for AMA District 37 or AMA in general, you're not allowed to have helmet modification, so chest mount is my only option here. I'm still not sure if I'm going to keep doing the chest mount or not when I'm not doing races. Sorry about the doorbell. I'm too lazy to edit that out. Sorry about that. As you can tell, I'm not even close to going all out or pinning it or anything, even on the open sections in between. Because I don't do that in general, but also, like, I just know that I need to keep my head up and really focus on, like, what's coming up. Otherwise, you end up in some bad line or something, so I didn't have any desire to try to make awesome time or something. Yeah, this is an area where I took a different line going back the next second two times. I took like a left line and then dropped into the middle instead of going through this part here. I saw somebody took an even further left line, which might have been easy. It was hard to tell what the train was going to look like on the other side of the hill. Yeah, I really need to practice a lot more of the slow stuff. Like, if I'm not properly rolling through, I get super slow. Because I'm just really worried that I'm going to keep dropping the bike when I'm just doing the whole paddling and, like, super slow walking it. I need to get better at doing that. I mean, ideally I'm not slow walking it to begin with, but even when I am, I need to get better at actually doing that. It's a bit of a water break, I believe. Might have been one of those, I stalled it so I might as well, or it might have been an intentional one, I don't remember. So the first loop, the one which we're looking at now, it's a little less technical than the second. The second loop it's a little bit more technical overall, just some of the sandy sections are less wide open, there's a little bit more sort of rutted sandy stuff. There's also a section that is more loose sand. There's also a much more, I shouldn't say much more, but a significantly more particular technical section that was like legit scary the first time because I wasn't sure how difficult it was gonna go. You'll see that soon enough. But overall the two loops were reasonably similar, with the loop 2 probably being a little bit more difficult overall. Which is also what they said in the paper that they gave us when we were there. There wasn't a lot of information ahead of time. I couldn't find any information aside from basically the flyer. So I just decided, whatever, I'll just show up. If somehow it doesn't work out, at least I'll be out there in Johnson Valley and I'll have some riding, even if I somehow end up not being able to participate because I missed something or whatever. It all worked out though. In general, these races seem to be made very old school. Like, it seems to be like you can just show up as long as you have like money and you have your gear and your bike. It seems like you can just figure anything out that you need to figure out on the spot. That's my general impression, and it's just hard to sometimes get the detailed information up front. So these blue signs, like with the Hare and Hound, it's the same thing, it's the standard. There's a name for the standard, I don't remember what it's called, but it's the blue for dangers, basically. In that case, it was kind of a rock sticking out of the sand. I'm still really slow with the turns, with the flat turns. I just have not gotten comfortable with just quickly going through a turn and potentially sliding out the rear and stuff like that when it's just flat ground. It's one thing to be aggressive in like a motocross case when there's a rut or there's a berm or something like that, but just these like flat turns, I'm still really bad at them. I need to practice that stuff. Lots of whoops, by the way, in general, especially I think on the second loop there's a lot of whoops, which I enjoy, but they are tiring. So like loop 2, especially those whoops, that's a lot. I try to sit a little bit even now when I'm not super tired, because I knew that I was going to be tired, but on that third round in particular, I'm just sitting even through some of the whoops sometimes, just going slowly because I just became so tired. I wasn't sure what these guys were doing. Must have been spotters or something, because I don't think that they would have the loop 3 crossing it or something. So I think these were just spotters, is my guess. Here's another section that's just a bit nervous creation in practice. Just it's not, you know, there's like a few drops and rocky stuff. It's not hard necessarily. It's just that you also have to go down right the middle and keep your line to not bump into something. So my inclination, I actually never rolled through these completely. Even on the third round, I didn't roll through it completely. I mostly paddled it. Yeah, that was me being tired, which is why I was sitting there. That was better. It would have been better standing there because there was a big, sort of a big, but like a rock step up situation. Step up might be the wrong term, but on that incline. For the most part, I can see the flags in time, as you can tell. Every now and then I'm too late, whatever. But it does mean that I'm slowing down a lot as well, just to sort of figure out, do they mean us to go there, or do they mean us to go there? Like, even if I see the left turn sign, it takes a bit of judgment to figure out, like, where you're actually supposed to go. Are you turning before or after the sign? Even if it's after, is it like this line or that line? Or could it be either, right? I was actually supposed to go to the right of that boulder, which I think I remembered on the second round, and I did remember on the third. I think I'm about to comment. I think this is when I was like, I'm gonna try slowly but still sliding the rear a little bit to get through the
Try to
turn.
slide through.
Yeah.
Clearly that didn't work.
And then I conclude later on that I shouldn't be trying techniques and stuff in the middle of a sprint enduro. But that's on the topic of like flat turns and being comfortable going through them a little faster.
I probably shouldn't be practicing techniques.
This little drop that's coming up here, super easy.
Sprint enduro.
The first time it was a little bit of hesitation because just judging, making sure it's not so steep that you're gonna go over the handlebars. But once you know that it isn't, it's just trivial to just go through. Just roll through, lean back a little, and it's fine. Lean back is actually a bad term. It's not really leaning back. It's more moving backwards on the bike. I should start fixing my terminology there. This was a bit skittish the very first time, because you don't know what's on the other side. And I should have gone immediately left.
First time I properly hit my skid plate, I think.
Yep, that was a real... doesn't quite hear... You don't hear it that much on camera, but that was a really plonk. I think that happened once or twice more somewhere else. So yeah, first time truly using that skid plate. Anyways, on the round 2 I'm going to do the same mistake. I'm going to head too straight. On the third round I finally remember and I just make an immediate left after crossing over and I don't need to adjust. That one, the rut there, still sketches me out a little bit. I can go through it like that, fine. But I'm still a little, like, hesitant. Because I'm not confident that I'm not gonna hit one of the sides and go over. Because it's very deep. I think I may have dabbed there on either round 2 or 3, I don't remember. Yeah, this was also a section where I don't think I walked it. I still kind of rolling, but very slowly. On round 2 and 3, if I remember correctly, I'm rolling through much more fluidly. Once I know what's up and there's not an insane drop or something, and I know I can just roll it, it becomes easier to just do it. If I remember correctly, we're about to come up to the end of loop 1. Yes, that's it. So at this point I could have gone take a break at the track or whatever, but I decided, I think that's allowed as far as I can tell, but I decided to do both loops and then go and do a break at the track. I did do a bit of a mini break in between the first loop and the second, just like a minute or so, just drink more water for the bladder, but I didn't do like a proper break or anything.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
Thank you.
So right off the bat, or not immediately, but in the next few minutes here, you're going to see that it remains kind of similarly sandy as much of the other stuff, but there's going to be a little bit more like kind of a rut in the sand and or like a thinner sort of lime that you have available to you. Not quite yet, but there'll be more of that. So that makes it a little bit more technical, I think, than loop 1. But it was fine. The part that I actually found surprisingly technical, because I like sand, but there's a section with deeper sand that's also, I think, finer grained. And it actually got to the point where I was a little nervous riding it, even though I actually am into sand and I normally don't have an issue with it. It'll come later on. So I think on round 3 you'll see me sitting for a lot of this, just because I'm so tired. But that, yeah, these are the whoopsie sections. There's more throughout loop 2, but just lots of whoops for a good percentage of the time, basically. Not super visible on camera, it's more obvious in person, but like it's more, you kind of have a bit of a rut to go through. It looks wide on camera, but like it feels not as wide in person because you've got kind of the little groove that you need, that you're kind of in for the most part. Yeah, this is the sandy section. I was actually taken aback a little bit. I think that's why I stopped there and so on. And it was just like, I thought it was, yeah, more sand, but like, oh wow, this is like sand. And I'm not standing necessarily constantly because again, like, even though it's just the first round, like I'm a little bit tired and I also know that I'm gonna get tired, so I'm trying to save energy. But as you can see here, I do stand up in the end. I try to stand when there aren't whoops and if it's flat, that's when I try to sit to recover energy. And then in this case it's sandy, so that's not great for sitting either, but I was trying it I think for a while and then decided to stand up after all. I think somebody's about to pass and I'm starting to hear them, but I wasn't sure whether they were going to go on the left or right. Oh, never mind, that must have been round 2 or something. I actually missed the turn here. There was supposed to be a tighter turn, and this is when I'm realizing, and that rider was kind of hollering at me.
This turn.
By the way, there was a start Varg in this race. I got passed by one. I don't remember which round. Maybe the third. Second or third, I think. I wish I could have talked to them afterwards. I wanted to figure out, like, do they do a little bit of topping off of the charge in between the races or what? Because it's 42 miles total. So going at it, sandy terrain, like that's like risky. You might run out, like you're on a start Varg doing all of that with no charging, I think. So I would be curious to hear how they do it. I hope somebody uploads a video of Loop 3. I really want to see what it's like, how technical it is, and if I think I would have been able to go through it. I think we might be coming up to my second place where I hit the skid plate soon, if I recall correctly. Maybe not? Or maybe it's still coming, I don't know. There was a bit of a ledge with a small drop, and if I went when I went too much to the right, the skid plate hit.
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that was another stall. I really need to work on that. Because I'm spending so much time feathering in second. Because like even if I were in 1, I would probably feather anyway to moderate the speed. But I need to make sure that my RPM is a little higher. Yeah, this is a quote-unquote technical section, but it's not really hard. It's just, you can just get through it. It's just hard to do fast, I guess, right? But it's not difficult to get through. All you have to do is walk it slowly, basically. Yeah, on the third round in this section, man, was I stalling. My clutch hand was just so tired. Okay, we're actually about to come up, I believe, on the most technical section across the 2 loops. And I'm gonna just let it play. I'm not gonna talk too much over it, because it's an interesting, like, if you're watching this and you're like, don't want to do a race, there's some talking, like, it just shows, like, a chill atmosphere. Like, it's not just people trying to win. I mean, back in Novice, right? I'm not sure about, like, if you're riding it as an expert, right? So I'll just, like, the first go around, I'll just mostly shut up, possibly entirely, and you can just sort of hear the chatter and like people just being nice as folks are trying to go through it. Should be coming up here, I think. I think a little bit of open desert here, and then I think we're at it. Yeah, I guess we're passing the rocks in front, I think. Yeah, there we go. So I was scared initially based on the comment that you're about to hear. I was like, wait, a drop? How bad is it gonna be?
Watch out, the big drop off, I guess, up there.
I'll just walk it.
I see.
He's telling you what to do.
You can just keep your roll speed up and it'll go right through. I just don't flat rock. Yeah? Yeah, it's flat all the way. Okay. You can walk it though. I just can't see it. I just don't know. Oh yeah. I know, you can't see it, but once you get over here, you see like, oh shit, this is fucking nice. Yeah, I'll walk in next loop. Yeah. I just don't want to. If I'm walking, is left or right better? Well, if you're walking, I don't know. Doesn't matter.
I know, the jackrabbit up there tells you what to do. Alright? We're hanging out, I guess. Yeah.
Already got beat up too much. Trying to actually finish. Alright. I see what you're talking about. Keep your roll speed up. Don't put the brake on. Go right through it. You gotta have good balance though.
Guys, I'm just waiting to make sure they're sufficiently far ahead. And trying to listen to them. Because I'm still not sure what I'm about to see.
What's up?
Right here. It's the easiest way. Over there, you got a drop off with the rock. You can go that way too, but
This is the easier way?
yeah.
And what do we do? Go over the
You just go right here. You just come right here. Keep your roll speed up. Bounce and right down. Just flat rock.
Okay.
Flat rock all the way down.
She said. You going for it, boss? Oh, you gotta wait till he's out of there.
Feel free to go first.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling skittish. But also I don't want to hold him up, because for all I know I was gonna get stuck there. So basically, you're going up on that rock, and you need to be on the rock. You can't be on the left, because it's just, there's a drop. That you're just gonna get stuck in the rut bit, so to speak. Quote-unquote rut between the rocks. And on the right-hand side, there's a bit of an actual drop. So you want to really avoid going off on this. I mean, it's not a huge, it's not like you're gonna die or something, but like uncomfortable drop on the right. So you're going up on this rock, and of course keeping your footing is gonna be hard. So you have to go up in a way where you can still put your foot down, unless you're confident enough to just roll through it completely, right? And then there's a little bit of a transition between two rocks where he just passed as well. You can kind of see it there when my camera tips over a little, or peeks over. So I'm just being super careful and skittish. I don't want to apply too much throttle. I don't want to fall to the right. Yeah, it's hard to see because of the camera angle, but...
You can go either way. This is a little more skill level. This has got a rock drop off. This is flat right here. If you keep your momentum and you balance up, you can roll right through this.
Yeah, you totally can. If you're just confident enough and you do it, it's totally fine. Obviously, that's not me.
Whoops.
I never quite looked at what this drop-off was. I guess it's what's immediately to my left there?
Just roll right on down.
Yeah, probably. I don't know, though, if that's actually harder, but they say it was. Probably correct.
Well, I'm happy I have a skid plate.
Oh, yes. So once I get down here, there's the last little bit. I should have paid more attention to how other people did it, but I just put my foot on either side because it's too tight for my boots, I think. So I sort of just put my feet on either side and sort of walked above the bike almost. And then I tried to get the bike low enough or further down enough that I could tell the handlebars were starting to go up again, right? And then I would sort of like, not jump down, but like sit down on the bike and then commit to the sit, so to speak. That's what's going on now.
Very.
And so, like, there was this battle of, like, will I be able to reach the handlebars if I let the bike go more without sitting? But on the other hand, I didn't want to sit too early, so it got a bit skittish there. Like, if it wasn't a race, I would just go through there multiple times and figure it out. That would actually be a nice learning experience. Maybe I will do that. I saved GPX tracks. Maybe I will come back to these at some point and just, like, revisit some of the places without the race context and just play around with how to get through certain parts of the terrain. I probably won't because I'm gonna be too lazy to actually do that. Maybe I will though. Like maybe a group could get together and retrace the steps of the race or something. We'll see.
Okay, right turn.
And this right turn, twice I almost missed it. Third time I remembered it.
things are meant to be scraped, I guess.
Oh yeah, I scraped the left peg on that rock back there.
Woohoo! Skid plate again.
There we go, with the skid plate. I think I was looking for where to go. Even though I don't have much of a problem except for a few different specific places, it's not overall a super big problem to follow the course. There's a lot of like hesitation for me and like, oh yeah, I see it, right? I don't know if people just get better with practice or if it's just a me thing. There's one place that's coming up where you're gonna see me miss the sign, and I missed it every single time on every round. Yeah, I'm really getting tired with myself for stalling it in stupid places like that. I'll forgive myself for the round three things when I was like truly tired and like I could just feel my fingers like slipping. But that stuff is just not. I need to start getting serious with having my RPM a little higher.
Wrong way, wrong way.
Here's the place. Round 2, I just went straight through for several feet until I realized round 3 happened similar to now, except I got stuck a little bit and I was so tired. So I was trying to just get turned in the right direction with a minimum of effort. Managed to paddle free in the end with a lot of rear wheel spinning. And then I dropped the bike again on that round 3 because I was just so tired. And here we are at the end. So, I'm gonna shut up now, for the very few people who might possibly have watched this far to begin with. The rest of the video is just gonna be riding footage. Thanks for watching.
Ready to go again?
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. Could try the other line. It's going that line. I think I'll go left again. Well, I guess people are going even more left. I'll try that next time. Whoa. Try this. Fuck! That would have been so easy had I just not stalled the bike. Ah, what a waste! What a waste! Okay, I'll just adjust my thing from stalling it anyway. Too low again. Just why I keep stalling. Yes. Roll over it this time. Nice. Oh. I almost did the same thing last time. Try this line this time. And left here. Okay, at least I rolled through and I didn't stall it or anything. Line than last time. I feel like that left line is very interesting here. stalling again. Whew. Still not comfortable to just roll that. fuck, same thing again. Went too far right. Maybe third time through I will remember. No, I'm just doing 1 and 2.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
Pretty good, how are you?
Fine, right?
Yeah.
That first lap was stupid.
What's that?
I thought I wasted so much energy.
Yeah, especially the first one.
Down that first canyon, you saw the line on the left?
Down the.
Where you got stopped.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah. And there's one even further to the left
Right,
too.
also.
Yeah, I'm gonna see about that next time. Yeah, just letting you pass. Almost got it. Wait. Oh, it's I remember. Ah, fuck. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. I get to go?
Get to go.
Okay. line everybody was taking. No problem. Yikes. There we go. There we go, no freaking stalling. missed the sign. Another stall, I think, if I remember correctly. Fuck. More speed. I wasn't actually planning on taking this line. There we go. Whew. I'm actually tired in my clutch fingers. I'm actually stalling more than I normally am. What's that?
Last time coming through this shit?
Yeah. Oh. There we go. I know it's easier if I just roll through, but
If you got your balance, you just stand up and roll it right through it.
yeah.
That part anyway. I don't want to
Tired. And stalling. Too tired to stand. Again, fuck! Every time! Ah! Every time! Too tired for this. Sorry.
Oh, here. You want to hold my bike? I can get it up for you. You want it?
Yeah.
How'd you like the course?
What's that?
How'd you like the course?
It's good. I'm just tired on this last two.
Oh, I bet, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whew. Ow.